because I want a partner who will find me attractive for the rest of my life.
Right.
I want to grow old with somebody and look at them and I want them to look at me and say, I love you just the fucking way that you are. Because if I'm having kids with this person, biological kids, I want them to love every bit of me because my kid is going to look like me.
Yeah, that's a totally fair position to have, but you didn't really answer the question. The question is, do you think men will find you more attractive in 10 years' time compared to now?
Probably not, because men like girls who just look really young. And I don't think I'm going to look as young when I'm 31. And I just think that that's like I got hit on more when I was 17 than I do now.
Okay, well,
and that's just
talking about
true.
adult relationships here, so.
Well, yes, but you're talking about, do you think I'm going to be more attractive to men in 10 years?
Do you think a man, so if a man were to find you more attractive now at you're 21 versus like you when you're 41, that would mean he's like a P word? Is that what
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that I don't judge. I am not, my whole life doesn't revolve around how attractive people think that I am.
Yeah, I didn't make that claim.
So then why
is that men like younger women?
My point is that I think that men will probably not find me as attractive at 31 than I am at 21. However, I don't think that that's going to be an impact on my life at all. Because ideally the partners, the kind of men that I'm dating right now are not going to be the same kind of men that I'm dating when I'm actually searching to get married and settle down.
What do you mean by that?
Like right now I'm just looking for fun. I can fuck a guy who has different political views than me just because I can just fuck him. But if it comes down to me getting married to this person, I want someone to have the same values and morals as me.
Which political views are those?
Well, I feel like it's fairly obvious judged on all of my responses today.
Kamala?
Well, I am not pro Kamala. Also, it's Kamala. But I'm definitely anti-Donald Trump. Fuck that guy and his orange Cheeto head. Yep.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Well, that's why I didn't bring it up. See, hun? It's okay. It's okay.
I'm not triggered by your
You're
criticism.
going in the crystals.
Yeah.
So
going in the crystals. What's your crystal color? What is it? What's the crystal color that you want to go into?
Is this something about the podcast I'm not familiar
What
with?
does that mean?
He likes to put liberals in
Witchcraft
crystals.
stuff, like witchcraft, magic.
Put me in a carnelian, because that's the stone of love, baby.
Yeah,
and I'm
what
all
color is
love.
that?
Those rose
It's orange, like the color I'm wearing today.
So you get an orange crystal.
Yay! See, I'm not ashamed by that. Okay.
No, we love
You know what? I think that I'm hot now, and I think I will be hot in 30 years, or not 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever it is. I don't think it really matters. I think that what's more important to me is my brain, my psyche, and my moral cavity.
I do want to go back to the whole thing about when it came to, you said it would be superficial for a guy to care about your looks.
Well, I think that
Is
is
that your position?
okay. Let me explain that a little bit further, because I think that it maybe is going to get misunderstood. I think that it is superficial for someone to only care about looks. I do think that attraction is an extremely crucial part of having a relationship with somebody. It's really hard to be with someone who you don't find physically attractive, even if there is an emotional connection there. So, with that being said, I do think that it is important for you to be sexually and physically attracted to your partner, but I do not think that that should be the only basis. And so ideally, the person that I'm looking for, maybe I am not their ideal woman physically, but if they like me on every other point of value and I like them on every other point of value, that is way more important to me than someone who is just dating me for my looks.
Aren't you kind of contradicting yourself a little bit?
I don't think so. I don't think so, because it's human chemistry. Attraction is chemistry.
Hang on. Let me.
No, please.
let me
Sorry.
explain.
Sorry.
Yeah. Let me explain what I mean.
Yeah.
So, it sounded like you were saying. So what Brian's asking is for you to base your looks essentially on whatever you think objectively they are from a physical standpoint. I assume that most people get their objective standpoint, whatever they call their objective standpoint for their looks, based on what they think the opposite sex thinks they essentially rate at, right? Mm-hmm. When you say, well, okay, but there's this internal aspect to it, I don't deny that, right? But if you then agree, well, if the physical attraction is going to be very important to you in a relationship, I'm assuming that you think the physical attraction is going to be very important to the man in the relationship.
Yes.
So wouldn't we be utilizing still the standard of attractiveness from the man, right?
Absolutely, but my point still is that I'm not going to be any less attractive 10 years from now. So it doesn't really matter if someone finds me, because if someone doesn't find me attractive, okay, I won't be with them.
No, I
feel
get
like it's
that,
a simple,
right?
yeah.
But I just don't see how that really contends with it, because it's still a physical attractiveness. So do you think that men in general will find you more attractive in 10 years than they do right now? I guess that's the better way.
I already answered that, and I said no, I don't think so, based on my experience.
No, you don't think so.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then doesn't that seem to kind of follow then that would mean that you think you'll be less attractive in 10 years.
Well, you know what? My ideal man is not like all men. So,
No,
and also, who knows if I'll even be with a man? Like I said, I am bisexual, and I'm very much 50-50. Just because I like women right now sexually does not mean that I think I'm going to settle down with a man. I think that I very well could settle down with a woman as well. And women have different standards of beauty.
Yeah, they're pickier.
That's fair, right? I mean, it is.
I disagree. You should see some of these butch lesbians.
It is rare for bisexual women to actually get married to women. It's usually more common.
Do you have a statistic on that?
Yeah, actually, I can pull it up. Sure. It's actually very.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's very, very low. Just in bisexual women.
Mm-hmm.
So that's with bisexual men, the opposite. It's very strange, right? Well, they still marry women more, but they still marry men at higher rates. It's very strange how the sexual dynamics work there. But back to this, when we're talking about physical attractiveness, you say in 10 years, most men will find you less physically attractive than they do now. Then it sounds like, based on your objective standard, you think you would be less physically attractive than you are now.
I wouldn't think that. I think that I'm going to get hotter in 10 years. But I know.
You're not basing that on a physical standard.
Yes, I am. Absolutely, I am. Are you kidding? I just described it. I said that just based on I can look at my family and my genetics and see the people and the way that they have aged, and most of the people in my family have aged very, very well. And if anything, I am just not concerned about how that's going to happen, because for me, like I said, it might have come off as satire earlier when I said this, but I genuinely do think I get more beautiful every year. I think that is a part of growing as a human being. Your physicality changes every year.
But that seems that's what the contradiction is, because if the idea here that you agree to is that you get your beauty standard on what men think is beautiful, and then in 10 years you're going to be less beautiful to men, then by your own beauty standard, you'd be saying you're less beautiful.
No, babe. I'm sorry. I think I was maybe confusing you a little bit. My personal beauty standard is my personal beauty standard, and that is not.
Where does it inform from?
My family members, the girls that I admire, things that make me feel good and feel confident, the way that when I look in the mirror and I tell myself in the morning that I'm beautiful and I actually agree with it. Like I said, I have dealt with a lot of body and face issues in my physicality my whole life. I know some girls might not, they might look at me and not believe that, but now I know objectively, I can have a better standpoint with it. But I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that my own beauty standard is my own beauty standard. The things that I find attractive are not always the things that my friends find attractive. And maybe that even goes into dating. The kind of guys or girls that I date, my friends will look at me and be like, really? That sort of thing where, objective opinion is subjective opinion is subjective opinion. And so that
there seems to be universals, right? There seems to be some pretty agreed upon universals. And it makes sense.
Exactly. The agreed upon universals is that men usually like girls who look a little bit younger, because they always say that youth is a virtue and all that stuff. So
I think it's just a matter of reproduction. So the idea is you might scoff, but hear me out for a second. From an evolutionary standpoint, you agree that the primary edict is reproduction, right? That is the primary edict. And so it would make sense why biological beings would be attracted to those who are the most fertile.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, sure. But I just don't think that applies to me specifically. I think that it is very true that there isn't.
I
don't know if I said that I'm accepting, but I'm going to say that I don't think that applies to me and what my values are. I'm not going to settle down with somebody who is worried about my biological clock ticking. That's just not happening.
No, it's not that they're worried about the No. You're conflating two different things.
Okay.
Right? So hear what I'm saying here.
Sure.
I'm not saying that men are basing you on your biological clock. I'm talking about attraction, the idea of attraction. It would make sense that men are attracted to women who are fertile for the purpose of reproduction. They don't know why they're attracted to them. They don't know that it's because they're fertile and that's why they're attracted to youth, right? How would they know that? They're not psychoanalyzing it. They just look at a woman and go, beautiful, not beautiful. But the reason that they're saying beautiful, not beautiful, and the reason they have a universal attraction is because of reproduction.
So I have
Obviously,
a question.
A biological being is going to be attracted to the thing that they can reproduce with, right? Like every biological being, that makes sense. Right?
Absolutely, yeah. And that's the same way I would choose a partner who is ideally sound of mind, but also sound of body and health as well.
Yeah.
I do have a question for you, though, is that what age do you think is the best age for a woman to have a child?
I think between 18 and 24 seems to be optimal.
So
But
I just
clear-
want to really
clear up-
quick.
But hang on.
No, sorry. Yeah,
But
completely.
Clear,
Yep.
up,
Go.
clear up until 28, 29.
Okay.
Seems to be pretty fine. I think that around the 30s, it's usually pretty bad. It starts to decrease exponentially.
Okay.
And
So
by the 40s, generally not a good idea even.
okay. That's really sweet. So my mother had me when she was 36 years old. When I was born, she was 37. She had my brother 2 years later. So do you think, and we came out perfectly fine. I'm perfectly healthy. I have no allergies.
Sure.
I like the way that I look. And she is, again, she's now 57 and she looks fucking amazing. She has literally
Well, I'm glad you were born and that she had you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But I'm just saying that I think that it's that, like, and so my father still loves the shit out of her. Like, I literally have never seen a man more in love with a woman in my life. And I'm very grateful that because I know that not everybody gets to experience that. I'm very, very aware that not everyone has that kind of love in their household. But I do think that when I am searching for a partner, I'm searching for somebody who has those qualities that my dad has, where my mother is 36, which is out, apparently, at your definition, out of the range of prime breeding, right?